beautiful people, and welcome back to the channel. You know the brand, P&Z Life Coaching. You know the man, Coach Mike James. And I'm back again with another dope, amazing, awesome episode of Black Business Booming. The person that I'm with today is no stranger to these streets, to the Coach Mike James streets, and I'm just so excited. So one thing I've done though, sis, before we get into that, if you're here for the first time or the third time or the 100th time, if you ain't subscribed yet, what are you doing? What are you waiting on? Stop now, subscribe, and make sure you check out all the information in the description so you can make sure you can connect with me and my amazing guest today. So one thing I do now, sis, I'll say, first of all, welcome back. But one thing I do now, I say, if you were receiving the biggest award of your life and you had to introduce yourself, how would you introduce yourself? Because I give you that opportunity to introduce yourself to the audience. So I want you to take a moment before we jump all up in your business, in your Black business. Introduce yourself to the audience, which hopefully y'all see this familiar, beautiful face, but just take a moment and introduce yourself to the people.
First of all, that is an amazing way to make somebody edify themselves and give themselves flowers. So shout out to that, coaching us while we're not even recognizing it. Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to tap in with an experience, because that is the best way to describe Coach Bellamy. Her resume speaks for itself, but her heart speaks even louder. She is a light. She can see you. And when she is working with you, oh my goodness. This woman is a trailblazer. She works hard in her community, but she works even harder on herself because she understands that she is merely a reflection. So bringing to you none other than Aysha Coach Bellamy.
Hey, y'all. The assignment. See, look, let me tell you, sis, you're the first person that really just understood assignment and put it out there like that, because, we do it humble and but you did it, like I said, like if you were receiving this award, right? Like a Nobel Prize or something. And so what you said, it's your moment to hype yourself up and to toot your own horn. And so that's why I do that. So thank you for doing that. That's amazing. So Coach is no stranger. Again, we were just talking before we started, impactful conversations 2-3 times. I don't know.
I think so. 3. I think it's 3. I think Trey time.
Right. And we go way back. We met on an app that no longer exists, called Convoz. Shout out to all the Convoz fam. And we met and been connected. And so the way you introduce yourself is the reason why we've had so many impactful conversations, because what you do and who you are is an impact on the community and the culture at large. So I'm so excited. Now we gonna get up in your Black business booming, you know what I mean? So take a moment, Coach Bellamy, Ish, as I know you, right? So take a moment, and I just want you to tell us what your business is, and then, when you started it and the inspiration behind doing so.
So let me tell you how, me being me, I did not know that was going to be a question, but what I knew was what I wanted to express the most when I came on the show. And the main thing is why I did impactful conversations so many times versus Black business booming, because I'm not a stranger to this business. And what I had to realize is, one, how long I've been doing this. Because what I do is similar to you. I life coach as well, right? I've been doing this all of my life. And it took me a long time to understand my niche here, because life coaching is so vast. It means you can cover anything. And I'm already a Renaissance woman. And what I do in coaching is just simply one layer of who I am. So I really was torn on how can I present myself as a business if I'm not sure exactly what it is that I'm offering people. And what I did was I went and kept doing work. And instead of me searching for the answer, I allowed my ears to open as well as my heart. And I was able to hear people tell me what kind of coach I was. and how I got to this journey. And what I recognize that I do is I help people build their confidence. That's primarily it. In whatever arena they desire to build confidence. But most importantly, I am a liberation coach. That's my jam. I help people realize that they can be free just by choice, doing the work, remaining consistent, putting in effort and putting in the effort that they have to give at the moment. Nothing more, nothing less, but living that liberated life and figuring out what that looks for them. So I wasn't ready and I was not going to come on the show until I knew, because I respect you as a coach. And you already know the vibes, we come correct. And so I was like, okay, now I know I'm the liberation coach. And Coach Bellamy has been doing this for a very long time. And still, the things apply. I will never fully know how I can help any client I have until we have a conversation. That is something that I know. But what I do know for sure now is that when my clients leave, they are all liberated and they all feel freer than they've ever felt in their lives. And sometimes it's just based on one conversation.
Mm. And then you give them the confidence to know what to do or how
Yeah,
to live once they're liberated. Because
yeah.
listen, you can be liberated, and if you don't have that confidence and you don't have that consistency, like you talked about, you can just be a liberated person not doing anything. So
But is
the
that really
confidence.
liberation? Like, to me, I would question if that's even liberation. It's just a title you gave yourself. Right. And
Yeah.
that's what I had to recognize. And I think that's what it was that took me so long to figure out my niche, was because I recognized that I am a good energy and I make people feel really, really great when they're around me. And so
Hmm.
that can feed the people with codependency. It could feed and fester in the wrong ways. And what I did not want to do was ultimately, because I wasn't paying attention to what my niche was, giving and feeding the wrong kind of client and not helping my client versus what I do now. So there's people who have the title of liberated, but you can spot a liberated spirit when you find it.
Yeah. One of the things that is said often in coaching is you can only take your client as far as you're willing to go or the work you've done yourself. And so
That's
it's so
right.
amazing you saying this. And even like we talked about coming correct, you're able to help people become liberated and find that liberation because you liberated yourself. And so that's what you want in a coach. So
Yes.
now when you think about that in your work with people, talk to me for a moment is about what are the challenges that you face in the beginning and starting to do what you do? Because I want to go back to something else you
Yes.
said, and I love this. My mentor will say this, and I share it with coaches in class because a lot of times coaches, once they get training or the alphabet soup behind their name and all that stuff, they feel like, well, what if people ask me how long I'm a new coach? Like, listen, if you are a coach, it's a passion, something that you were called to do. You've been doing it all your life. And that's what I
Mm-hmm.
love. I'm glad you said that because you've been doing it all your life. Now, how long you've been trained or had some certificate or credentials or whatever, that's different because coaching is not a licensed or regulated field. So it's about following that passion and knowing that you want to help people. So I love you said that. So now when you think about it, what was some of the challenges that you faced in starting your business and showing up the way you want?
For me as a coach, the main challenge that I obstacle was showing up full in the ways that I took on everyone else's thing. I showed up as a magnet instead of the way I show up now for my clients, which is hollow. And I had to explain that to a client before because it triggered them. They didn't like the term, they didn't understand what it meant. And I had to say, first of all, I said hollow, not shallow. And it literally just means that I am aware of what's mine. And I know that you are going to come and tell me things. And I now know it is not my responsibility to try to fix it or keep it in me because it is not mine to do anything with. I am simply here to be a mirror for you, to show you and offer you the tools that I use continuously with myself. And in the beginning, I did not have that. In the beginning, I did not have structure. So what I had was a very depleted person. And
Mm-hmm.
it was me because all I did was give, 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 give. And I didn't like one of the things I teach my clients is, we hear even in church, you pour into your cup, pour into your cup. What if your cup has no bottom? That means that the blessings are still coming to you, but they're not touching you whatsoever. And you're trying
Mm-hmm.
to figure out why everybody under you is getting hit really yummy and great. It is because you have no bottom. I had not secured the bottom to my cup. So in the beginning stages of my coaching, I had to learn one, how vast my cup's huge. Like this isn't no, I don't even know if it's a cup at this point. This this
Right.
this a, it's a big old.
It's
This thing is huge.
it's a
Okay,
bucket.
um, listen, and then it was like, oh, and I have to secure a bottom to it in order for me to have overflow. And then once I secured the bottom, this is the next caveat, was starting to get used to the weight of the water.
Mm, mm,
Nobody talks about that.
yeah.
Nobody talks about the weight of healing. No one talks about the people and things that fall off and how it can make you feel in the moments and how you will want to backslide and how you will want to go back to people pleasing and all the things that did not serve you. So I had to learn how to bear the weight of this new bucket cup thing that's being filled with all these blessings and all this beautiful stuff, and then allow for it to get to the, oh, it's heavy, 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 and then you have the overflow. And something
Mm-hmm.
happened in that space of overflow. And that's why when you say introduce yourself, I now am able to sit in a place and say wholeheartedly who I am and what I do and how to represent myself properly.
Period. I'm taking that, sis. I just want you to know I want your permission. Maybe I'm not even asking for
you
permission. That
no, you
hollow,
go ahead
not
and do the thing. You
when you
already
said
know.
when you said hollow, not shallow, like
Come on.
literally,
Yes.
it's everything that even with the school I teach for, it's everything that we even teach. Hollow, not shallow. That's so deep because it's showing up that in a space where you're helping people and what we do as coaches, that hollow hit home because it's how you want to show up. Because if I'm not
Yes.
hollow, then I bring with me the what I feel and my cognitive dissonance, and then it's automatically I'm going to fix you without you being able to see what's broken in the
Come on.
first place or what you can
Come on.
do. So come on, when you said how, I'm like, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
I love it. You kind of went into this next question a little bit already when you talked about now you the foundation, right, having the
Yes.
bottom of this container that you are.
Yes.
You said now it's learning to carry the weight of it, but
Yes.
on top of that, if you think about the time and the years that you've been helping people and what you do,
Mm.
what are some of the, you talked about the challenges getting started, but what are some of the day-to-day challenge of running your black business and uh doing what you do and what you're passionate about? What are some of the day-to-day challenges?
My day-to-day challenges, more recent, had become making sure that I operated in confidence and not in fear,
Mhm.
because it is very, very, very easy to slip back in fear without knowing it. When you're building these things and you've gotten to the space where you've secured the bottom, you're you can hold the weight. It doesn't even feel so heavy anymore, but you don't see the outcome. You don't see the desired outcome that you want. It is very easy to slip back into fear. And with fear comes lack of confidence because now I'm hustling and now I'm overworking. So the extra time and energy that I give myself so that I'm able to give 150% to my Black business every day. Um, that's one of the challenges. One of the other challenges that most people, they have to know my story to know, is that I'm a disabled veteran and I'm 100% disabled. So being extra kind to myself, being transparent, every client that I have, I believe in total transparency. I actually, with my clients, we are not disabled. We have superpowers, and I typically work with a lot of clients who have superpowers as well, and I help them to be more confident with that superpower.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, we were supposed to, just full transparency, you and I were supposed to then record this, but I had a seizure that day, and the people around me had to let you know, and then they had to remind me. that this was supposed to be a thing so that I could follow up. And those are some of the obstacles or challenges I face when I'm operating my Black business. But also, one of the things that for me, you say challenges, I say sharpening
Mm,
that allow me to operate my Black business because there is no challenge. Only the things that I say are challenging, right? I may have situations that are uncomfortable because I need to sharpen that much and I allowed myself to get that dull. But these what I do every day. I face the moments that allow me to sharpen and I come out better.
yeah, sharpening. I love that. Because it goes back to this idea that, everything is about perspective, and how you choose to look at something has
Yeah.
a strong impact on how it affects you, you know?
Yep.
So I love that. Now on the other side of the sharpening, right?
Yes.
What is that thing now that makes it worthwhile? All the sharpening, the finding the bottom, the carrying the weight. What makes it most rewarding for you to say, now I do what I do and I help people find their liberation? Um, what's the most rewarding thing about what you do?
One of the most rewarding is my clients and watching them in our program. My program, we do 12 weeks. That's it. 90 days, going to help you build that routine. And getting the chance to talk with them about where they were in the beginning and then where they are now. And just having that raw emotion from them in that moment, it's like, yeah, somebody else is on the team of healing. Let's go. Somebody else is on the liberated train. But more recent, especially within the last 6 months, because my granddaughter is a little older and my son is heading to college. So I have transitioned a lot in life in the ways and hearing my son say things and practice and put into practice based on what he's watched me do, not what I've told him. Watch him implement and be confident and liberated. And then watch my granddaughter watch me on these calls, watch any interview. She is 2 and she watches me like a hawk. She even sits at my desk. And it's my reminder that I used to say when I first met you, I'm doing this for legacy. I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
this for legacy, but we forget that if you live long enough, you're able to see the legacies be born and you're able to impact them and influence them right in real time. So when I say the most rewarding thing is watching the impact on my legacy in real time, and they get to watch my clients, they get to see those responses from these people that I'm helping, and then I get to watch them build beautiful things. So that has been the most rewarding is the reciprocity in it that you don't even see coming.
Yeah, yeah, that snowball effect. Like, everything has just another ripple. I used to say this in college, and um I started saying it in college and especially in my adult life. And I remember I wrote a blog about it one time. It's just for me, I want to be a ripple. I want to be a
Mm-hmm.
ripple when I leave here, a ripple that has touched and affected everything. Because a ripple, it starts in one spot and it spreads, and it literally just goes until you can't see it anymore. But that ripple affected every single thing, whether
Mm-hmm.
it changes it or not. I want to be a ripple that has affected everyone and everything around me. So it made me think about that when you talked about that legacy, and I saw it as that snowball effect. Like, so many things, right? Each one teach one. It's really
Yes.
creating, and for you, the beautiful thing is creating a legacy of liberation. Like, oh, that feels good to think
Yes.
about that.
Like it, no, it does. I recently watching my daughter interact with my grandbaby, and it hit me that when we talk about generational curse breaking, my grandchild is a part of the generation that won't have to break any curses, and I'm watching it. I'm watching her be allowed to show her emotions at such a young age. I'm watching her be able to be confident in anything that she's attempting. I'm watching her live a very liberated, little free little life to do whatever she desires. And I know for my children, they had aspects of that. And I know for myself, I had none of that. So to watch it in real time, it's like, man, I couldn't stop if I wanted to. Not now, not hardly.
Yeah.
I've come too far.
Right. I love that. So this is the point in every one of my Black Business Bowman interviews, says there's a point where I get where I say, in the last one I did, it happened at the beginning, but it's always a point where I get to, I say, I don't need anyone to tell me what Black people are or are not doing, because I know what my circle, my web
That's
is
right.
doing. Right. And so for that person, that young woman, that young man, maybe older person, but for that person that's watching and say, okay, I see two Black people doing their thing and entrepreneurs, right? And maybe they're sitting on a desire, an
Mm.
idea. Maybe they're sitting on it, or maybe it's someone who dropped it, but they're thinking about getting it back. Or maybe it's someone that's just struggling right now with their entrepreneurship, right? And it's like, I don't know. What is the advice that you would give to someone that's either wanting to start a business or just be in business? What is that advice that you would give someone?
This is going to sound cliche, and it has changed from what I used to say. As a coach, I say, be kind to yourself, take it one step at a time. As a business owner, write it down, get it out your head. Even if you don't implement it, if you write it down, someone else can.
Hmm.
Write it down, get it on paper, and stop trying to do everything by yourself. It is okay. I understand we come with trauma. I've been burnt before. I don't trust people. All the things you want to tell yourself. Cool. Get online then. Again, Coach Mike and I met on an app that doesn't even exist. And how many years ago was that? And we've been locked in since. Get around groups of people who will help you in the ways, not necessarily to do it, because when people hear that, that means, oh, someone's going to help me do this thing. No, they're going to help you remember that you said this was your goal.
Yeah.
And when you write it down, it's in your face. And you can't run from that. You can't run once you make it tangible. And if you are keeping yourself from making it tangible, then you're your problem.
Mm. It's just point blank, period. You know, write it down. Yeah, it's as long as it's in your
That
head,
was
it's
my
just
that
that.
was my thing. Yep.
That's it. As long as it's in your head, it's just that. And the subconscious doesn't know what's real or fake until you make it. And
Yeah.
so it's this idea of whether you're speaking it out, writing it down, you see it now, it's in the atmosphere, it's in the ether, and it's like, oh man, yeah, I did say that. So either you're going to have that encouragement to go and make it happen, or you're going to say, yeah, well, did I lie to myself? You know, you have to,
Mm-hmm.
it's something,
Mm-hmm.
it's another step at it. So yeah, I love that. Write it down. And, you know, I tell people my testimony all the time. I thought, writing and journaling and all this stuff. And when I started, I never looked back because it's amazing. And I tell people now I got
Yeah.
a personal and a business journal because it helps you keep up with your thoughts, where you're
Yeah.
going, where you are, and where you've been,
Been. Yeah.
So now I can look back at certain points, maybe even when I'm discouraged, and I can look and say, you know what? But I do remember when you said you want to get your first paid client. I do remember when you said you want to get your YouTube page going. I do remember when you said you want to get your website up and go. Oh, I have done stuff because we forget on the journey,
Yes.
especially when we feel the weight. We forget all the things we have done. And if
Yeah.
you've never written it down, if you've never kept up with what you're doing, even when you see, even when you see it, imposter syndrome in and of itself, even when you see the fruits of your labor, you think, oh, well, I can't do this. I can't do more. Or maybe I got lucky. So write it down. You just fired me up when you said that.
For
It's
like
just simple, but
that
it's
was
so
my
impactful.
hindrance. And this was the thing. And write it down in a way that's bold. Do not shortchange yourself. I would write everything down. I've always been a note taker, journaler. That's what I do. But I would give little quick little idea. Write this little
Mm-hmm.
quick idea and write like the base of it, the name of it. No, sit with your pen and paper and write it out. What does it look like? Think, enjoy the thought process of it. Enjoy thinking your business through and don't be afraid to think big. You gotta think big. I'm not going to say the rest, but you gotta think big, baby. Okay, you do, because if not, then you won't give yourself an opportunity to actually reach anything. When our goals are really small or they're comfortable, we procrastinate even harder with them. When it's something that's really major, massive, it doesn't matter if you jump into the waters, just jump or dip your toe, you're going to touch that water it regardless of what. So make it big, write it out, and keep doing the work. Stay consistent and stay honest with yourself. I think those are the key things I would offer as advice.
Yeah, I love that. So the person that's watching is like, man, you know what? I'm just feeling her energy. I don't even know if I need a coach, but I need a conversation with her, right? So for a moment, just tell people how can they connect with you? How can they reach you? Where can they find you or learn more about what you do and how you help people?
Well, you can definitely go to my website, www.aishacoachbellamy.com. I keep it simple. And tap in with me on my social media, Mrs. Bellamy. Honestly, my website is where people can find out a lot of information. Most people miss that part. Um, and just emailing, and so we can have a conversation. One of the things that I do specialize in, because like you said, some people may not be ready for a coach. Some people, I am very transparent. Some people may not be able to afford a coach. I understand that. Please believe me, I understand it. If you are a person who is ready to do the work, shoot me a DM. A quick DM conversation, you send 60 seconds, I send a rebuttal. Guess what? That didn't cost you anything, but if you took the gems from it and you apply pressure, what happens is you'll be able to then afford my rate to keep it
Mm-hmm.
going. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I'm not hard to get in contact with, and I leave myself pretty open in the ways. I'm a big girl. I know how to have them boundaries, but I make sure I'm accessible because I understand that I range. Started off with clients who could not hardly afford me. I couldn't afford me. And I know those clients right now, they are looking forward to joining the coaching community because they can afford me now. They did the work.
I love that. So now, what's next for your business? What's next for Coach Bellamy? Anything that you could share of your forecast, where you're going?
Yes. Well, Coach Bellamy has been outside. I have been working with Sisters with an Agenda nonprofit organization based out of Philadelphia, helping to organize things from community days to sister circles. And this fall, coming this fall, because during the other seasons, during the not fall, winter season, Sisters with an Agenda Sister Circle takes a break. And so coming this winter, I will be introducing my old program, Queen Tilling Together, to that space where we will meet weekly. I am also out here in these speaking streets. So I'm looking forward to speaking in more unorthodox spaces for a person like myself. When we're talking about liberation and confidence, there's a lot of people that I know I could work with and coach with, but with speaking, I would love to be in prisons and detention centers because to me, those are the minds that need to be liberated most because they are the most sunken and they are the most lost. So those are the spaces. But any of your more unorthodox spaces, I have been at schools talking, but more so not really with the kids. I've been centering around adults because I feel like there's a lot of organizations, there's a lot of people who work with the children. And don't get me wrong, babies, I love y'all, okay? But your mamas and your daddies need me, all right? And
Right.
they need me a little bit more because what I recognize when we talk about that ripple, if I'm able to tap in with mom and dad, help them understand parts of them where they may hold shame, where they may be holding hurt, open wounds, and not dealing so that they can't live this liberated, confident life. That means that there is no liberation and confidence that's passed on to their children. Everyone wants to go straight to the children, but I feel like we forget that that may be the easy route. You may want to go help those babies, but if you are not doing anything about the cancer in their home, you're just sending them back for the illness. So you're not
Mm-hmm.
actually doing as much service as you would think you are. I want to go straight to the cancers. I like to talk straight to the toxicity of the moments and the people who need it most. So that has really been a lot of my journey and where I'm at. And then I'm also in these production streets, outside of coaching. Coach Bellamy wears a lot of hats and I creatively direct. So I have been outside with coordinating with events and doing my production did there. So that has been really, really exciting. And I'm speaking that in 2025, I will be on my first film set.
Period.
Um, yes, and making music. Again, I wear all the
Nice.
hats and I allow myself to express and explore all of the things. But most importantly, I am really excited to launch in the fall my coaching community. And it's been a long waiting, like a long wait. Um, and I want to make it clear what this is. I say my community, but it is not, it is the community. So there's just a space for people to come and find resources like myself, but also resources like yourself. The things that I talked about a couple of years ago, finally just putting those things into action because I had to write it down. So those
Mm-hmm.
are some of the things that you could look forward to when it comes to Coach Bellamy.
I love it. Oh man, I'm so excited. Of course, you listen, it's just like, how they say it's an open door. It ain't even an open door. You here. So, anytime you call me, hey, we gotta have a conversation. You know me, I'm like, hey, when? So I love it. I
Mm-hmm.
thank you every time you show up and can bless this space. I appreciate you. And I got your back. I love seeing you shine and what you're doing. And so just thank you so much for taking the time out to share in this space and to let me get all up in your black business booming. So any last things or thoughts that you want to share with the audience, any lasting words that you want to leave behind with the audience here?
So before I talk to the audience, I would like to give you your flowers and say thank you for being consistent. You consistently show up, but you show up for the people who show up for themselves, but you leave space for us. And I just want to say thank you for that and thank you for being patient. And then, giving me the time to get my black business together so that you could get all in my black business. Um, and for the people, for your audience, this is where I would say be kind to yourself. Starting a business is, we know it's not for the faint, it's not for the weak, but it is for those who are bold and fearless. It takes boldness, it takes fearlessness to be able to start a business. So if you've started it, you've already done majority of the work. You have. So give yourself grace, be kind, stay consistent, figure out what that looks like for you. You'll see, you'll know, and just keep digging. Keep digging. You'll see your gold mine, I promise.
Keep digging. That made me think about the movie Holes. What is it, Holes? I'm, I'm tired of this, Grandpa. Oh, that's too
Get
damn
those
bad.
damn
So, but no, that message right there, and that's for everybody, not just for business owners.
Yeah,
I wear my hat often, that the CEO hat, and I wear it often so people can ask me, because I love when they ask me, "Are you a business owner?" I say, "Yes, but you are too," because we're all the CEO of our lives.
that's
We got
right.
to make tough decisions. We got to choose who to hire and fire in and
Yeah.
around us. We got to make these, everything we've been talking about. You got to write down the things about your business, which is you. So thank you so much for that. That kindness, extending yourself grace. That's just a message that has no expiration date. so
Yeah.
so that's awesome. Thank you so much, sis. I am so excited. Again, make sure that you connect with Coach Bellamy below, all the links and information there. Tap in, tune in, stay dialed in, and we appreciate all of you for tuning in. We'll see y'all next time on the next episode of Black Business Booming. Peace.